This is the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I am getting to unboxing this very, very late, and there's a good reason. And that's because I decided to use the iPhone 15 first to get a good idea of what the base model is like before I compare it to the most expensive one in the lineup. So this is the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I got it in natural titanium, and it is in 256 gig. That's more than enough. That's all I need. So let me go ahead and unbox it. Very similar Apple experience. No more plastic, so you've just got these paper pull tabs that you can pull on, and one at the bottom and one at the top. I have to say, these have some like really good tension. Like when you peel them off, it is satisfying. I mean, I do miss cutting the plastic, but this is not too bad either. And less plastic is always a good thing in my book. So go ahead and lifting this up. And there we go. Look at that camera cut out in there, that's massive. Okay, here's the iPhone 15 Pro Max in natural titanium. And I have to say, the color is really muted. Like sometimes it feels very gold and sometimes it just looks very silver, and I don't mind that. It's kind of like Starlight, but not really. So let me go ahead and lift the phone out of here. And I have to say, I've seen this a few times in person at stores and stuff, and I think that I really like this color in person more than I did in the Apple Store's light. I don't know what it is about their lighting. It felt a lot more yellow than it does right now. So there's the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Just let's see what's inside. Really very, very minimalistic. You've got this, and a single Apple sticker. Nothing too exciting. And of course, you've got now a USB-C to C braided cable, and the cable actually feels really, really good. I'm glad Apple has ditched those really, really cheap plasticky cables. It was a long time coming. So let's go ahead and take a look at the phone. And right off the bat, the cameras look they look as if they sit even taller than they did on the iPhone 14 Pro Max somehow, which was really tall in and of itself. But I think it's just a placebo right now because of the lighter color rings around the camera lenses. The 14 Pro Max had a darker color, so it just blended in better with the black on this side. So let me go ahead and look at the sides, and already the sides are smudging up. I don't know if the camera is going to do a good job, so this is going to be a case needing phone. Even though they are matte on the sides, this is definitely a little bit annoying. On this side, you've got the power button. On this side, you've got volume down, volume up. But surprisingly, they didn't really make a different one for the action button. This is kind of just the alert slider icon. That's interesting. They didn't really change that. I would have expected them to, you know, maybe put something here to highlight that this is a new feature, but really not anything that noticeable and not really marketed that well. So let me go ahead and give you guys a nice sound of the peel. All right. So the peels actually get a little bit less satisfying, I feel like, this year. I felt the same way with my iPhone 15 and the 15 Pro Max too. They kind of just come out and there's not that really satisfying sound of it being lifted up. I think maybe it's just because the material they use now is a little bit different. They used to use plastic, and maybe this new paper material doesn't really have the same kind of whatever it was before, but it is definitely noticeable. Let me go ahead and just try this action button. It has a pretty decent amount of little tacticity to it. That's the word I was looking for, I'm sorry. Volume up, volume down. It seems very similar to them though, so that is a little bit of a problem. I would have liked, I guess, there to be more separation. This a little bit lower would have made it feel a little bit different. It being up all the way high, like I can totally see myself confusing this for the power, the volume up button a lot of times, because I just feel like you're not really looking, you just kind of feel, and whatever the highest one is what I've usually toggled. So that's gonna be a little bit confusing doing that. But let me go ahead and power this on, set it up, and give you my first impressions once that's done. All right, so as I was setting up the iPhone, I got a prompt to set up the action button. So I just wanna show you guys what that looks like. And this is the first time I'm seeing it too. Go ahead and customize. So you can switch between silent and ring call, you can switch between focus modes, open up the camera app to capture a moment, photo, what else is there? Oh, cool, so you can choose the mode you want it to open up into, that's awesome. Voice memo, what else is there? Magnifier, a shortcut, okay, you can add your own shortcut, your own accessibility, or no action. I think I'll just keep it in silent mode for now, because I do like that. Emergency SOS, okay, continue, and welcome to iPhone. There we go. Alright, so I've just got the phone set up, been using it for a couple of minutes, and let me go ahead and talk to you guys about some of the things that I have found about it so far. I know a lot of people were talking about how immediately they noticed the weight difference between the two, but I have to say I didn't, and that's because I came from the 15. I actually thought it was pretty similar. I know it's not, it's much heavier than the 15, but the way that it's distributed across its body and the fact that it has those rounded off edges now just made it a lot more comfortable to hold. And honestly, more than being able to tell the weight difference, I found that I just find it to be more easy to hold in the hand. It's just easier to hold and use single-handedly. What I did notice right off the bat were the much thinner bezels. So the bezels have pretty much been the same since the iPhone 12. The 12, 13, and 14, same sized bezels. They're not big at all. They're really nice. They're really tight and they look wonderful. However, when you put them right next to the iPhone 14, you can tell. Like it's not noticeable on camera, unfortunately. As much as I will try to show it, it's not going to show up. But when you see it in person, and especially if you've used the iPhone 12, 13, or 14, you will tell right off the bat, okay, that is a big noticeable jump, and it feels nice. That's a really good thing. Speakers, pretty much the same. They're really identical to the 15, 15 Pro. A little bit louder, but that's just because it's a bigger phone, bigger speakers, more space to give out the sound. Then I moved on. I did try out the camera a little bit here and there. I'm not going to go too in depth, but I really do love that you can now tap on 1x to get different millimeter, little tiny zoom. So that's great for taking photos or even videos. That will be a really nice addition. And the 5x does actually use its own 5x independent lens. It doesn't piggyback off of the 1x when it's low light. That's an issue that all the older telephoto lenses used to have, but this one doesn't, because it's just so far deep that it can no longer mask it with software. So even if it is bad, you will still get the actual 5x image photos. Other than that, really, there is a lot of features that I will test later down the road. I don't really want to get into it when we're talking on the initial impression. So there are some differences, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys what I'm feeling really right off the bat when I'm coming from the iPhone 15. So the body, it feels similar. Even though they're two very different materials, titanium and aluminum, they feel very similar because both of them are matte and both of them have very similar way they're curved. I don't know what exactly you call that, the radius of the curve, whatever that term is, but the feeling of them, the way they're shaped, identical, so you really can't tell. The phone is, both of them have matte back glasses as well, so really you don't feel much of a difference. And all in all, I have to say that they have, this is the first time I think there's such a consistent feel to every iPhone across the lineup. In past years, you had the 14 that had the matte, 14 Pro that had the matte glass, and then the 14 that had the non. It was all over the place, but now a very consistent and uniform lineup. But I do have to say the colors on this are a little bit boring. The other thing that I want to talk about is that the action button is new, and I did test out the haptics. I wanted to see what the haptics were like, so let me just show you guys what happens. When you put it on silent from normal mode, you get 3 little quick vibrations to let you know that it's on silent, and when you put it onto ring, it's just one little haptic feedback and it's done. I am not sure how I feel about this. Apple made a case of saying it's going to be very noticeable and you'll be clearly able to tell, you know, that this has happened. But I feel it's very normal. It's nothing too new. It really doesn't feel like it's a identifiable vibrate. Like if this happened, I might just like feel like there's some kind of other notification, which I'm not too happy about. But it is what it is. I did notice also that they did add a little symbol. If you are in silent now, right next to the time, you will get that. I've been asking Apple to add more things up in this top portion, especially on the Pro Max, because there's just so much space here. I understand you can't really do it with the iPhone 15 because it's already feeling pretty full up here on the top right, but at least on the 15 Pros and 15 Plus, you can definitely do that, and I'm glad that they did at least start adding some more things. Not really sure if I wanted to be seen on my screen every time if it's on silent. I'm sure there might be a setting in there. I'll dig into that a little bit later. Performance-wise, honestly, come on, like the 15 itself is so great. Very hard to tell the A16 Bionic versus the A17 Pro. The key difference being that the 17 Pro has 1 extra graphics core, and it's based on a 3nm architecture versus the 4nm on the 15. The other camera differences are also minute. You've got the telephoto, of course, you've got the LiDAR, which are the 2 main hardware changes, and then you've got a couple of features that are enabled on this, which are going to be your telephoto with the 25x digital zoom, whereas on this you're locked into about 10. Then you've got the night mode that you can take with portrait now, not just the normal night modes. You've got macro photos, which I actually really missed. Then there's raw photos you can take, ProRes vid, you can externally write onto a hard disk when you're recording video, ProRes video, which is going to be great. There's log colors that you can, there's a lot of new minute little features that have been added. Then there's also macro videos. So camera does have a lot of software additions. When it comes to the hardware, there's only two really big changes. The addition of a telephoto and the addition of the LiDAR. The main sensor is the same as it is on the 14, and that's kind of the biggest one. The main sensor is the one you're going to be using the most. But I have to say, the thing I did also really miss a lot with the iPhone 15 was the always-on display. So this has a LTPO panel, which is actually, when looking at it in technicality, I think this is 1 ppi lower. So this is 460 pixels per inch, the display resolution overall, and then this has 461. So technically, the 15 has a slightly crisper display, even though this obviously has more pixels. The pixel to body ratio is, pixel to screen ratio is slightly higher on the 15, which was a fun fact. And honestly, other than that, what do I think? My initial impressions are very positive. There's nothing on this phone that I see as very wrong. I think that they did a really good job with everything. I can say that maybe the colors should have been a little bit more exciting. Very, very bland and boring colors this year. This is really, really just uninspired in every way possible. The 15, at least, I really like the colors. I know a lot of people are not a fan of it. I personally love it. So overall, I'm really liking the phone so far. I'm gonna get some more time with it. I'm gonna use it. But if you have an iPhone 11, 12, anything older than that, you are absolutely in for a treat if you upgrade. If you have the 13 or 14, especially if you have the 14 Pro, please don't upgrade to this. You will not find anything that great, and you're just going to get annoyed with it. I think that the thing is, though, for sure, there's a lot more changes this year from the 14 to the 15 Pro than there was last year from the 13 Pro to the 14 Pro, which was just, you know, a very, very minute upgrade. This time, at least, there are some changes, of course, having switched to USB-C, the newer design, and the new materials used. It is way lighter, too, so more comfortable. Overall, great phone. I think this is a great upgrade, as long as you've got a iPhone 12 or older. So that's gonna be it for this one, guys. If you have any questions or if you want me to go in depth with any other features or comparisons with this phone, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.